As we have learned, our pieces are assigned with a default grid size value of 1. Once we are done dressing our garment, we will need to adjust the grid size according to the pieces to help achieve more natural and real-life details in 3D. Here we have an example of a puffy garment. As a puffy garment is considered to be a heavier file type, we can keep the grid size at default value while dressing to not slow down the simulation. Once the garment has been dressed and styling applied to it, we can then adjust the grid size to bring out the details in the drape. For instance, the creases that appear due to the quilting and tension. Currently, we do not see much detail in the creases when using the default grid size, as the grid size is very large. So let's try to lower the grid size slightly and see the difference. We can see that more visible creases and drape lines have appeared on the garment once we have lowered the value. Although it's recommended to use a grid size of 0.8 to 0.6 for larger pieces, in some cases where we need to achieve more detail to match our real-life sample, we will have to use even lower values such as 0.3. However, we will also need to keep in mind that using such low values all over our garment will result in a larger file size, and this could also cause slowness or lag when dressing or styling the garment later on. Therefore, it is advisable to adjust the grid size of the pieces once the garment has completed dressing and 3D styling has been applied to correct any areas that may require it. As we can see now, the side with the adjusted grid size value has more visible creases as compared to the side which is only using the default grid size value. The next example we will look at is applying the grid size to elastic waistband and drawcord pieces of a pair of shorts. Here we can apply the same method as before to bring out more details in the gathers or shirring of our waistband piece. Currently, as it is set to the default grid size of 1, the elastic detail is almost non-visible and the creases look quite angular and sharp. Lowering the grid size helps to bring out the smaller details in the drape, such as the gathers, due to the shrink of the elastic effect. Another area we can apply adjusting grid sizes to is to help with collisions occurring between pieces. For example, our drawcord pieces are colliding with the shorts when using grid size value 1. Let's try lowering the grid size to see if it will help with the simulation. After adjusting the grid size value to be lower, we can see that the collision has lessened and the edges of our drawcords appear to be smoother and less angular or jagged. As the drawcords are quite small pieces, it is recommended to use a lower grid size between 0.5 to 0.2. So let's continue to adjust and allow the garment to dress so that the pieces can simulate properly and no longer collide with each other. Now that we know these tips and tricks, we can apply them to our garments to help improve their simulation and appearance overall.